What's up guys, Riley coming at you here with another segment of Overkill reviews this week. If you haven't already, head over to our Patreon. We've got some new merch, coffee mugs, t-shirts, patches, whatever your heart desires, go check that out. Give us a subscribe, give us a follow. We super appreciate all of your support. With that being said, this week we're going to be reviewing an album by a band that officially just made first place on the list that I mentally created, titled Bands That Are Just Straight Up Weird. This is MACABRE's new album, Carnival of Killers, out today, Friday, November 13th on Nuclear Blast Records. So MACABRE has been dealing out these oddball cards since 1985. So we've got a 35-year career span here. They've had the same lineup ever since. We've got Corporate Death on guitar and vocals, Nefarious on bass, and Dennis the Menace on drums. They've had quite a plethora of EP releases and full-length releases, but we haven't had a full-length release since 2011 with Grim Scary Tales that had come out. So it's been almost 10 years since we've had new MACABRE material. Are we excited? Are we a little bit nervous? I'm not really sure if I was ready for this, but let's get it going. So I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to be completely straight up when I say I wasn't exactly familiar with a lot of the works of MACABRE prior to doing this review. So I did what I would like to call discog diving, and if you don't know what I mean by that, it's like musical dumpster diving, except usually it stinks less. Most of the time you find some pretty cool content, and with diving into MACABRE's discography, I found that this new release sounds strikingly similar to the works of MACABRE's past, particularly from the early 90s and the late 80s. I probably would have made the assumption without any background knowledge that this had come off of their album Sinister Slaughter in 1993. And if you are familiar with MACABRE, you will know that Sinister Slaughter is one of their bigger releases. There aren't a lot of bands that tend to stick with the same sound, especially over such a broad span of time. MACABRE has stayed so true to the original sound that they've created, and if you are sitting there asking, what does MACABRE sound like? Basically, they harness different pieces from so many different subgenres to create their own subgenre in itself. So they have pieces from like math rock and nursery rhymes and death metal and punk and thrash and folk, and it's a little bit melodic, and they shove it all together, and ultimately they get dubbed murder metal, and I think they might be the only band in this subgenre, but rightfully so that they are dubbed murder metal, because a lot of their lyrical influence and their musical content comes from infamous killings and murders, all of the horror stories and stuff like that. There's a particular song on this new release titled Your Window is Open, and it was written about Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Very fitting for that murder metal label. They also seem to be a band that definitely likes to stick to the theme idea. So, for example, this new release is Carnival of Killers. Right off the bat, the intro to the album is that eerie, creepy, classic carnival tune, and if you are one of those people that had like a preposterous fear of clowns as a child, or you still are that person, maybe this album isn't for you, but they keep that theme like immaculately consistent throughout the whole album. So it rounds all the way through, and I do love an album with consistency, so I gotta give it that. If you are somebody who is so set in stone on what a subgenre should sound like, or the way that you like song formatting, or you have these expectations set already, I think it's going to take you a longer time to absorb what this band is trying to give you, because they are so out of the normal. The first listen through, I'm pretty sure my first idea was like, what is happening? And it was kind of similar the second listen through, and so on and so forth, until I pretty much developed this appreciation for the fact that the band does whatever the fuck that they want to do. It was sort of a lot of noise, very unpredictable. They would start by going one way, and then they would take another path, and then they would take another path. And sometimes I like that in my music, that unpredictable element to it. But this was more so like, I'm scared of where you're going to take me next. What is happening? Somebody please hold my hand type of vibe. This album particularly, I think there would have to be a certain time and place and mood and vibe for me to be able to really jump into it. And to be honest, I don't think that mood comes into my life very often. So maybe this album doesn't exactly fit what I would particularly reach out for and grab. Subgenre-wise, it was kind of like fusion food. Like, you're either getting the best of both worlds and the combination is super bomb, or it's a little bit of a sloppy mess. And I'm gonna leave that up for you to decide. I'm gonna give this album a 3 out of 5 skulls today, out of personal preference and what I normally listen to and what I enjoy. And I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 skulls out of where this, the sound that this band's created for themselves, what they're doing, and how they're doing it. And I don't think I'm allowed to give 2 scores. That's probably an illegal move, so maybe I'll take those 2 and mash them together, make a compromise, and we'll call it a 4 out of 5 skulls here today on Overkill Reviews. So I've got 3 shoutouts here. 3 that you are definitely going to go listen to. My first shoutout is for Demonical. They just came out on October 23rd with their 6th full-length album titled World Domination on Agonia Records. Love the Swedish death metal. There was one particular song that was super melodic, so it was really well-rounding to the rest of that aggression that they were serving you. The second one I have is Kiova. They're from Finland. This is their new EP, Empty Fields and Smoke-Filled Skies, out October 30th on Off Records. This one definitely fits the more macabre subgenre style. They had a lot of elements from a lot of different things going on. It was kind of crusty, a little bit atmospheric, sludgy, hardcore, a little bit of post-metal in there. But the fun tidbit that I had for you, it was mixed and mastered by Topon Das of the Ontario band Fuck the Facts. I haven't exactly had the opportunity yet to talk about a lot of tech death. Hopefully we're gonna get there one day. So this one is a tech death release for you. This is Alustrium and their new EP Insurmountable. It is out in the full on November 16th, and I do believe it is a self-release. Their last full length came out in 2015 and it was titled A Tunnel to Eden, and I really dug it. So I'm super excited for new Alustrium content. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a very unlucky Friday the 13th. Take it easy.